always thought the trick to keeping a man was making him earn you twice. Win you once, then keep you by working for the next version of you. Hotter, busier, less available. I'd picked that up from friends who treated dating like economics and from influencers who preached, don't respond too fast, like it was scripture. It sounded smart until I tried it on a man who didn't treat love like a game. His name is Logan, and the first thing you need to know is he does everything right without narrating it. The second thing is that I mistook that for naivete when it was actually a boundary I kept crossing. We met in the checkout line at an office supply store. I was buying pastel sticky notes because the normal ones made my desk look like a crime scene. He was buying a label maker and binder clips in bulk. He let me cut in front of him because I was late to a client call. He didn't even look annoyed. And when I dropped my receipt, he bent to pick it up like a reflex. I remember thinking, that's the kind of man who steadies a ladder without being asked. On our first date, he showed up 5 minutes early and texted, "No rush. Grab a table you like and I'll find you." He asked real questions, listened, and walked me to my car without putting a hand on me like he was waiting to be invited into the next version of the evening instead of assuming it. When I asked what he did, he said, "I build logistics systems for nonprofits," which sounds like a yawn until you see how his face lights up about food banks that stop throwing away good produce because trucks run on time. I thought, this one is safe to love. That sentence should have been a blessing. Somehow, for me, it became a challenge. We glided for 6 months. He remembered the almond milk brand that doesn't taste like a dare, changed my windshield wipers before a storm, learned my coffee order down to the extra ice. He never missed a date, never forgot a birthday, never made me guess where I stood. That last part, the certainty, is where I started to invent problems. Certainty is quiet. It doesn't flood your phone with apologies or big speeches. It just shows up with a spare charger in his pocket, because yours always dies at 4%. My best friend Nora thinks chaos is romance. She's the one who taught me how to weaponize delay. Wait 3 hours to reply, cancel 10 minutes before, post a story with someone else and write good company to light the right fuse. Men chase, she said over margaritas one night. Let him remember you're the prize. I heard the sentence, ignored the part where it says nothing about being a partner, and decided my stable, decent boyfriend needed an obstacle course. I started small. When he texted, "Home by 7. Dinner at Milo's," I looked at my phone, smiled, and set it face down for 90 minutes like I was a surgeon in the middle of a transplant instead of a woman scrolling shoes. When I finally wrote back, I added, "Maybe," and then didn't respond to his follow-up asking what time. He made a reservation anyway. He picked me up on time, didn't mention the delay, and complimented my dress in that soft way of his that never sounds like he's auditioning. I laughed too bright and said, "Don't get used to it," because I thought withholding warmth would increase its value. He did a tiny squint then, like a person reading a map that suddenly added a detour. The next week, I canceled plans 10 minutes before we were supposed to meet his friends at a trivia night. "Work thing," I texted, adding a blue heart to soften the edge. He replied, "Got it. Hope the campaign goes well," and didn't add guilt. I pictured him walking into the bar alone, telling his friends I was swamped, and I felt both powerful and mean. I posted a story of a cocktail with a male coworker's sleeve and frame and wrote, "Brainstorming never sleeps." It wasn't a lie. We were working. But I chose the angle that suggested otherwise. He didn't comment. He called later and said, "Hey, good luck tomorrow," and I said, "Thanks," like we were colleagues. The following weekend, he invited me to meet his sister and her kids at the park. I said yes, then asked Nora what I should do to keep the upper hand. "Show up late," she said. Let him sweat. So I did. 15 minutes late, then 30. When I finally arrived, his niece Ellie ran to me with sticky hands and a dandelion and said, "We saved you a swing." His sister grinned like we were already family. Logan handed me a water bottle and smiled, But his eyes did the squint again. He didn't scold me. He didn't make a scene. He laughed with his nephew about dinosaurs and pushed me on the swing like we were teenagers who didn't know how time works. That night, when he dropped me off, he didn't ask to come in. He put his hand on the back of my head for a second. A small protective touch. And said, "Good night, Lila," like he was practicing letting go of a word he liked saying. I felt it. The shift. I didn't stop. The next week I told him, "I feel like we need some space," and waited for him to fight it. He said, "Okay. How much?" And I fumbled because no one ever asks for a measurement. They either beg or vanish. "Just like less texting," I said. "I want to miss you." He nodded slowly. "I can do less texting," he said. "Will you tell me if that's about needing quiet or needing distance?" I said, "Both," because I wanted to sound mysterious instead of messy. He took a breath like someone bracing for cold water and said, "Got it." He didn't text the next day. Or the day after. He waited until Friday, then wrote, "Hope your week was good. I'm around Sunday if you want coffee." I replied 3 hours later with maybe, because apparently I am a parody of myself. He wrote back, "No problem either way," which somehow felt worse than begging. Sunday came and I didn't reach out. At 6 p.m., I posted a photo from a rooftop bar with Nora and a caption about choosing me. He didn't watch it. Monday morning, he left a small bag on my doormat with the book I'd said I wanted to borrow, a piece of my favorite gum, and a folded note. Inside. "For when you want to be known again." That should have been my cue to stop. Instead, I applied the final make him chase trick, disappear. I went radio silent for 4 days. On day 5 he texted, "Are you safe?" And I replied, "Of course," like he was dramatic for worrying. He wrote, "Okay. I care about you." And I didn't respond because the game said don't give him the reward. That Saturday he asked if we could talk. He suggested the little cafe where we'd had our second date, the one with the crooked pictures and the owner who calls everyone honey regardless of age or gender. He was early. He always is. He looked tired in a way I'd never seen. Not bag under eye tired but dignity tired, the kind where holding your head up costs. He didn't order for me because consent lives in small choices. He waited to ask. When our coffees arrived, he put his hands around his cup without drinking. "I love you," he said plainly, like starting with the axis before the spin. "And I've loved how easy it is to be with you when we're actually with each other. The last month hasn't felt like us. It's felt like a test I didn't sign up for." I said something glib about keeping romance alive. He shook his head. "Romance is dinner after a long day and asking if you ate lunch. Games are this." He gestured gently at my phone, face down like a misbehaving child. "I won't compete with your silence," he said soft. "If you need to feel chased to feel secure, I hope you find someone who has that chase in him. I have patience, not pursuit. There's a difference." "So that's it," I snapped, because when you're wrong you look for a tone to blame. "You're just giving up?" "No," he said. "I'm letting go kropka." He slid a small envelope across the table. Inside was a concert ticket for a band I loved. The same band I'd mentioned when we met, the one I assumed he'd forgotten. The show was in 2 weeks. "I bought these a while ago," he said. "I wanted to surprise you. If you want to go with me, text by Friday. If not, give it to someone who'll be happy to stand next to you while you sing all the words." I wanted to throw the envelope back and say, "There's the chase," but his face made that impossible. He looked like a man refusing to burn a bridge, but finally walking off it. I didn't text by Friday. I told myself if he really loved me, he'd text first. He didn't. The night of the show, I went with Nora because I couldn't stand the idea of the second ticket sitting in a drawer like a warning label. Halfway through the set, The singer held a note that used to make me cry, and I turned toward the aisle to breathe. And saw him. Logan. In the balcony, smiling at the stage like someone home after a long trip. A woman stood beside him. She had the kind of face that looks like it was made for sincerity. She was singing along off-key, which made him grin wider. When the lights came up, I stared until my eyes hurt. He didn't see me. Or maybe he did and chose not to let it ruin his night. I asked Nora to leave early. She refused, bless her, because she knows when to stop me from making a scene that would age badly. The next morning I wrote, I saw you at the concert. Hope it was good. And deleted it. Then I wrote, I miss you. And deleted that too because pride is a bad editor. I settled on, we should talk, and left it there. He replied hours later with, I don't think that would be kind to either of us. I turned my phone face down, and made a plan to be dramatic on Instagram. Then I didn't, because there's a cellular level where your body is tired of you. Weeks passed. He stopped appearing in my viewers list. The woman from the balcony appeared exactly once on his feed. Part of a group photo at a volunteer day stocking shelves at a pantry. She wore a bright yellow volunteer shirt and zero makeup. He wasn't even touching her in the picture. He was pushing a cart, smiling at a kid holding a can of peaches like treasure. I told myself she was just a friend. A month later, I saw them at the farmer's market, comparing two bunches of kale like the stakes were international. He spotted me, lifted a hand in a small wave, and stayed where he was. I walked over because I am incapable of letting dignity live unharassed. Hi, I said too brightly. Hi, he said, and his voice didn't wobble. This is Maya. She shook my hand and said, I've heard you like the cinnamon rolls from here, then offered me the last one in their bag because decent people like to prove the universe can still be gentle. I said no and wanted to yes so badly it hurt. After that, I started running into their names like a pattern I hadn't seen before. On a flyer for a community logistics drive he was co-leading, on a sign-up sheet for a mentorship program she'd joined, on a receipt in my mailbox when I accidentally got his package because the clerk never changed our building's labels. I held the small cardboard box in my hands like it might explode. A label maker tape refill and a note to himself with measurements. He was still steady. He was just steady away from me. The last time I tried to fix it, I did it clean. No performance, no delay. I texted, I'm sorry I made love a game. You deserved better. If you ever want to try again, I will show up like a grown-up. He responded the next morning. Thank you. I believe you. I also learned something about myself. I don't want to fight to be chosen by someone who prefers confusion to closeness. I hope you get what you want. People talk about hearts breaking like a single snap. Mine was a slow, responsible crack. Paper-thin lines spreading from the center out, every one of them labeled with a time I thought distance would make him come closer. Months later, a friend sent me a photo. Logan and Maya at a small ceremony under a tree, the kind with string lights that make everyone look like they mean it. There was no big caption, just a date. I stared at it until my screen went to sleep on me. I could tell you I've changed. That I text back, that I show up 5 minutes early, that I answer questions with answers instead of riddles. Some days it's true. Some days I want to reach for the old tricks, because anxiety is louder than wisdom. When I feel the urge to disappear so someone will come find me, I think about a man who offered a ticket and a time and let me choose. He didn't chase. He walked away without looking back, which sounds cold until you realize it was kindness. He wasn't punishing me. He was protecting the version of himself that refuses to beg for a love that only knows how to run.